you probably can't even believe it, but I actually read almost the next three volumes last night from Flowers of Evil. So this is from like volume four to volume six. Although I didn't get through all of volume six yet, but my God, it's there was a soft reset at the end of volume three. All the three characters had split up, and seemingly Kasuga's just gonna be an incel for the rest of his life. And there's about a month time skip. Kasuga's at swim practice. He runs into like Seiki, and they just like walk by each other. And Nakamura's like T-posing in the pool and just not doing anything. I just don't. Her character's just fucking weird. She just doesn't. I feel like there's something wrong in her brain. Like, it's not that she just. It's not that she's normal and pretending to be weird. It seems like there's something seriously wrong in her brain where, like, the words and phrases that she pulls out to describe things are just not normal. Like, just describing things as shit bugs and, like, wanting Kasuga to shed every layer of his skin, which is really weird. So all the characters are pretty estranged, and it's about like a month later, and apparently like main guy and Seiki haven't like officially broken up, but like what does that matter given what happened? I don't know. It's kind of strange. But anyway, main guy's pretty depressed. Nobody's seen each other, and like nobody also knows really like what happened. And that's pretty indicative because Seiki is walking with her friend I. Name's like AI. I assume it's said I have no fucking idea. They're walking after school, and like she's like, "Oh, Kasuga, go over here, you fucking asshole!" And she's like accosting Kasuga, like, "Oh, why did you leave her alone? You know, she was lost, and there's a pervert in town, and blah blah." So like, I reveals that like Seiki hasn't told anybody about what happened on the mountain, and Seiki hasn't told anybody about the fucked up shit that happened to her, with like the gym uniform being stolen and like Kasuga stealing it and Nakamura being involved. Like she hasn't told anyone that yet. So I just thinks that Kasuga's being like a bad boyfriend and he's like being distant. So basically Kasuga's just like, "Oh, like I'm sorry for everything, whatever. Uh and like we you don't need me." And then Seiki's like, "Okay, let's break up then." And they like shake hands, and Ai's just like, "Wait, what the fuck? Like, I didn't want to what's happening? I don't want to ruin your relationship," kind of reaction. Like, what the fuck? Although she also doesn't like Kasuga anyway, so. But like, she's just so confused because it just happens so matter of factly and so fast, and then they just like walk away. And basically, then the main character just has like all these like kind of like internal turmoil that manifests in like physical turmoil. Like he comes home and he can't eat, and he like goes upstairs and he just vomits, like, and how he changes with interacting with his parents. Like when he was hiding stuff, he was like, uh he behaved in a way that was indicative that he was hiding things, and but the dad just thought he was like going through puberty and like maybe he was jacking off in his room or something. I don't know, right? So it's interesting to see that the characters behave differently as the situation changes. The characters behave differently, and the parents behave differently. The parents are becoming more concerned, more suspicious as the town gets more and more attacked by degenerate pervert man. And boy, we have not seen the last of degenerate pervert attacks. So basically the big thing that happens in volume 4 is that Kasuga wants to like get back into Nakamura's good graces because he wants that kinky crazy GF. There's not any words to describe her for not being porn. This has to be like the weirdest, kinkiest shit I've ever seen. Like it doesn't even get erotic with their relationship at times, although it starts to between Nakamura and Kasuga finally. So how is Kasuga gonna get back into Nakamura's good graces? How is he gonna prove to her that he's somebody to trust again because, you know, he finally recognizes that he hurt her, and he writes this essay saying like, oh, I realize that I hurt you now. And it's like, come on, dude, obviously, like, you saw her crying. Are you fucking retarded? So she like runs away. You know, she doesn't care. He's trying to read her the letter, and she just like goes running away. And so that doesn't really work out. You know, she's not she can't be talked to. Like, you're not going to be like, you talk yourself back into the situation. Like, she's a much more action oriented person, where Seiki's like a almost like a fucking simp. Like, Seiki would believe anything. Like, Seiki's totally fine with the situation. Like if Kasuga picked her on the mountain, Seiki would probably be fine in their relationship. Like, she doesn't care what else was going on, and she's willing to overlook it. And we come to find out why later on, but I think that's in the next volume. So anyway, what Kasuga does is he goes in during swim class, goes into the girls' locker room and steals all of their underwear. And you're probably thinking, wow, awesome, right? You think the school would... I don't know. It's just, that's what happens. And they all have like open cubbies, of course. So all the girls' underwear get stolen, except Seiki's. And Nakamura sees this. Nakamura sees that Seiki still has hers, but she tells Ai that she doesn't have them. So Seiki knows that Kasuga did this because Kasuga didn't steal Seiki's underwear. And then somehow Nakamura and Kasuga get back together. Like, they meet up, or like she like finds his like hut. He like built like a hut in like the marsh lands, and that's where he like strings up all the girls' panties. And he takes Nakamura there somehow. I kind of forget how she gets there. And then, you know, she does have one gripe though. She's willing to talk to him again, but she has one gripe, is that she's like, you even stole mine. And then she takes them. And she like asks like, you know, but you didn't steal Seiki's. And he's like, oh, then that would be real horrible or whatever, right? And for the reader, you're understanding like, he, like, for Nakamura, that probably hurts, you know, because like, oh, like, you respect this girl so much and you have admiration for her that you're not willing to do something that appears harmful, but to me, you're willing to do it. So it's kind of weird, or kind of like disappointing. Like, she probably wants, I mean, she wants to be not like respected, because I don't think she wants that admiration, but she recognizes that for Kasuga, like, Seiki is like someone who is like higher in his mind than Nakamura is, than she is. So now what happens is the most erotic, it's really fucking weird. So Nakamura like takes her underwear, she like drops it on this book, because like there's a flaming book. Kasuga like lit up the flowers of evil to burn it, to like show her everything. So there's like some symbology going on there. He's like, you know, burning up his past self. He's no longer this pretentious reader. Now he's just a panty pervert. And Nakamura, you know, she doesn't put her underwear on. She just drops it in the fire. And then she sits in the chair, and then she's like, she says something to him that's like, you know, I let you make contracts with me, baka idiot, baka. And then that's like the end. I think, is that the end of 4? I don't quite remember, but there's like, I'm pretty sure it's in the same moment. Because now, mind you, the reason it gets a little more erotic is that you have to understand that after gym class, all the girls are wearing their like gym pants, because none of the girls have any underwear, right? And the guy's like, why are they wearing pants? And then the bitchy girl that's friends with Nanako Seiki is like, shut up, idiot, oh my god, you know. So, but Seiki isn't wearing gym pants. She's just wearing like her regular skirt. So like, you know, she has her underwear, but we also see that Nakamura is just wearing a skirt. So until we get to that scene where like Nakamura and Kasuga are talking, we think that, oh, Nakamura's didn't get stolen either. But then we find out they are. which is like, oh, is she not wearing underwear right now? And then she sits in the chair, and you think like the way it's like framed, like the way it's shown, it's like, you know, he's on his knees, and she like folds her legs over, and you think it's gonna be one of those, like she's gonna like unfold her legs. It's like, you just, what's gonna happen here? Like, you can't believe it. And then what she does is she puts her leg on his shoulder when he's like kneeled down, and he's like looking at her, and I mean, it doesn't show anything, and like the skirt is like going between her legs, but like it gets real erotic. it just the it just There's not even any subtlety anymore. Like, it's quite clear that Nakamura is into some weird kinky shit, but she also just thinks of everything as like shit bugs and I don't know. It's just fucking weird. Like, she has all these strange phrases that sound like somebody who like is suffering under psychosis. Like, it's very strange. Anyway, they leave the tent. They're holding hands. Like, they hold hands a bunch too, which is really funny. And he like sneaks out every night to go see her, and they hang out. And then they like put some underwear on a statue, and they have this plan to like fuck up the town. Like, they couldn't go to the quote other side of like the mountain. So like Kasuga's like, oh, that was when it gets like erotic. Oh yeah, there was. Oh my god, I forgot about that part. There's like a part where Kasuga's like, oh no, Nakamura, the other side, it's in you. Like, he says something that's kind of like let me in you or something. It's like, excuse me. And then she's like, I'm pretty sure, yeah, right, it's her. And she says like, it's been throbbing and beating down there inside of me for so long or something. And it's just like, holy god, like, are they gonna do it right now? You know, like, I mean, this is a shonen manga, right? Like, are they not gonna have sex in this? Like, holy shit. So that's basically 4, and I think that's probably also like a bit of 5. So 5 mostly is like the Seiki and I investigation story, because like they're like, Seiki's just Seiki's fucking as crazy as Nakamura. I mean, Seiki is a person who like wouldn't do the crazy shit that Nakamura would do. Like, if she just didn't run into these people. But because she's in this situation, she is just getting fucking crazy as shit. So like, she's just, after like, she recognizes that Kasuga's like doing this shit. So what, to her, that means that like Kasuga has like chosen Nakamura. So she's like, she's really upset with that. Like, she wants to kind of know why. But she has other motivations. Like, she is a scorned woman at this point, which is a pretty sexist thing to say, but she's mad. She essentially lost her boyfriend to another girl, and she's got some feelings. I can't begin to describe them right now. You'll just have to read it between what I tell you happens. So she finds them in their hut, and her and I go there, and I's like, you know, we need to report them to the police. This is getting scary. Like, these guys, like, they stole her underwear. What the fuck? Like, oh my god. And Seiki's like, you know, no, we don't need to do that. Like, whatever. And I just like begins to like, she's had it. It's like, why aren't we going to the police? Like, what the fuck? Why are you defending him so much? And Seiki kind of says like, you know, before Kasuga came into my life, I just did things everybody told me. Like, you know, I'm the class president, and, you know, I do this. Like, I'm the dutiful student who does everything that everyone tells me to do, but I've never done anything for myself. And like, one of the first things that she did for herself was get in a relationship with Kasuga. Like, she's the one that kind of pushes that relationship forward after the initial like ask out. And the things that like Kasuga was saying when he like read books and things, like, was so inspiring to her, because like, oh, he reads these books, like, he has this hobby that he does, and, you know, she's never had a thing that like she got to do by choice that she had any passion for. That's what she tells to I. But there's a more base level emotional drive that Seiki has in regards to wanting to get Kasuga back into her life. So during the chapter, like Kasuga and Nakamura, they like got a plan to like fuck up the summer festival, and they're like doing stuff for that. And but most of this chapter is pretty brief in terms of like the chronology, because it dedicates a lot of time to just like little moments that take up a longer time. So like imagine a minute, you draw like the whole events of one whole minute in a manga that could take like 100 fucking pages. So that's kind of what happens here. So Seiki shows up to the hut when Kasuga's there. Nakamura isn't around. I don't know if there was like a note left or something. I kind of forget how they get there together. But basically, Seiki's like, like I'll forgive you. We can date again. And like she says like a thing that sounds like she wants to have sex, and he's like no. And then she starts like taking her clothes off, and then she's like, we can do it right here. Like, I don't know. It's like, she's like, look, I'm kinky like Nakamura. Like, we can bang. Like, why don't you want to fuck me? Like, cause she asked like, oh, have you had sex with Nakamura yet? And I don't even know if he answers. And like, she just wants one thing up on Nakamura. Like, she wants like bragging rights of like doing something with Kasuga that Nakamura hasn't done. I mean, Nakamura and Kasuga haven't even kissed. Like, their relationship is like this like dom sub thing. Like, it's really fucking weird. But yeah, so like she starts taking her clothes off, and then she like walks up to him and puts her hand on his hand on her boob. And then but then he I don't know if he like smacks her, but he's trying to get her away. Like and pretty like violently too. I mean, not like it's hurting her. I mean, but then again, I mean, she's the aggressor here. And then she like pushes him over, and then she's on top of him, and they're like kissing, and he can't like resist, because there's also like the blackmail portion of it going on too. Because like she said that she was gonna burn everything, if like they didn't have sex. Or, well, I mean, it's just rape, it's not sex. The manga later on says, like, oh, are you mad that we had sex or whatever? Like, that's what the girl says, and of course she would, like, say it like that, but, like, I mean, it's very obviously rape. Like, she is forcing herself onto him. Yeah. And it's actually, I don't know if this came out before Goodnight Pun Pun, but it's shot, it's drawn in a very similar way, and I don't know if that's, like, a cultural way of, like, hiding what's happening. But yeah, they're making out. She's like taking his clothes off, and then when she gets to his pants, like then he has like, oh my god, like he has like one final kind of resistance thing. But then like she kind of goes at it again, and then like it's drawn in like just black and white, and it's very like, you have to really look at the image to be like, what is that? And then you kind of see like, oh, like that part that's supposed to be like between her legs, and that's supposed to be his penis, and then when you see the other frames, like it's getting closer, and then it's like it's inside, and then you see her reaction, and like, so yeah, so like basically, yeah, she forces his cock into her vagina, and they don't even really do it. Like, presumably they're just like that for like a few seconds, and he like pushes her off him, and then she's like sitting there, and she doesn't even care that it wasn't like sex to completion. She's just like, oh, like, now I'm gonna tell Nakamura that we had sex or something, or are you mad that we had sex, or like, or something. I don't know. She just says some like, thing to like kind of jab Nakamura about, and then main guy, he's just so panicked. Like, he kind of cheated on Nakamura, even though he and Nakamura aren't in like an official relationship. He goes running. He's running into the marsh. He's running into the night. And then in the distance, he hears, oh no, the hut's on fire. There's flames going up. And he runs back, and Nakamura's there. And then like they're on the road by the marsh, and it's him, Nakamura, and Seiki. And there's like a few other people watching, and you don't know what's going to happen. And Seiki just comes out and says to Nakamura, Like me and Kasuga just had sex. Like, are you jealous? Like, oh, you're jealous now, huh? Basically that kind of conversation. And Nakamura like stone cold, like doesn't really say anything. And then she's like, "Oh, why would I care? I don't care what you guys do or whatever." Like, and at that point, it's like, "Whoa, is Nakamura like a Shia? Is it both these girls cucks? Like, what's going on? Is this gonna be a lesbian thing?" And then like at some point in like the prodding that Seiki's doing to Nakamura, Nakamura like hugs her, and then Seiki's just like what are you doing? Why aren't you mad? Like, why aren't you mad that I slept with Kasuga or whatever? And Nakamura says something that's like, oh, I'm so glad you like finally revealed who you were or something like that. But she says it in this kind of weird Nakamura-esque way that's like, oh, I'm so glad you peeled your skin off or something. I don't know. It's just, she has a lot of weird ways of like saying things. But yeah, it's pretty fucked up. And then like yeah, there's a guy who like discovers the summer festival, like fuck up the festival planner. So like there's like a big investigation, and then like police are getting involved. And I kind of read through 6 pretty fast, and I need to read like half of it. But basically, like I think Kasuga's like all the students are like on house arrest now, I think. And basically they don't know, none of the people really see each other. And then the night of the festival, like it seems like they're not going to be able to do anything. And like the night of the festival, like Nakamura shows up with like a baseball bat. Like she like beats the fucking door down to Kasuga's house. She like breaks the glass. She like beats the wall in. There's like indentations in the wall. And there's like this one really good like full page panel where she's like standing there with the baseball bat, and like it's like a horror movie. Like what the fuck? Is she gonna kill the main guy? I don't know what's gonna happen. And because earlier like she's like trying to hit him with a baseball bat, and like she would have hit him, but he like dodged it. Like she gets like really violent with him at times, even when they're in like a good spot in their crazy relationship. Oh yeah, the thing that inspired, yeah. Winding back a bit, main guy ends up going to like Nakamura's house and talking to her dad, and then he like ends up in her room and he's like reading her journal, and her journal is written from like it's like somebody who's like psychotic. It's just like, oh, nobody in this town's interesting, all shitbugs, all of them, shitbugs everywhere. Like that's like one page, and the next page is like, oh, Kasuga's kind of cool, he's a shitbug, he's pervert, we're both perverts, haha. And then like the next page is like, we couldn't get to the other side of the mountain, we didn't make it or something. And then he realizes like, oh my god, like that was something that was really important to her. Like obviously it was, idiot, I mean it's kind of stupid, but like it was something that was important to her. And then she like comes home, and it's really weird. Like she comes in, and then she like kind of smiles, and then she like does like a kind of like thumb like this, and maybe it's indicating like she's like saying like get out. And he's just like, he's tearing up, like he recognizes that she's hurt, and he wants to be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like that's the kind of conversation that he wants to have in that moment. And then she just like lunges at him and like grabs the journal and begins running away. And then like he runs after her, and he like tackles her, and then that's how they kind of like get back together. That was like way back in chapter or volume 4. So like yeah, at the end of like volume 6, they basically it gets so wild. So yeah, now we've had like rape and weird and even crazier like love triangle shit. And then their plan for 6, since they lost all like the panties and everything, their plan now is to commit dual immolation suicide with like, they have knives, and they put gasoline on each other, and they're gonna burn each other. And then when they're about to do it, Nakamura pushes Kasuga off the thing that they're on, and she's like, no, I'm going solo. And then she gets like tackled by her dad, and then yeah, what the fuck is happening? And then I think there's like a time skip, because like you kind of have to have a time skip, because like there's probably going to be like some legal involvement, and then there's just going to be a lot of like getting back to normalcy. And personally, I like seeing that kind of stuff. I like seeing mangas that like deal with like the outcomes of events, but like it's a little bit harder to write, and you have to like really be able to like put yourself in that situation and then like kind of explore it as like a like a creator, and it can be really hard to do because it's such a strange situation. So it's easier to just like, fast forward, everything's back to normal a little bit, except there's like a few things, rather than just like really writing the heavy material about it in terms of like how you get back to normal. So there's like a time skip or whatever. But yeah, holy shit. Oh wait, no, is that the beginning of 7 where they do that? Oh yeah, that's like the beginning of 7 where they like do the fire thing. But it like leads right from 6 to 7. Like there's like not a really good cutoff point. So yeah, what the fuck? What is happening in I don't even know what town they're in. They're in Crazy Town. I didn't even think I would be able to talk this long about it because it didn't seem like there was that much more. Like it's just like highlighted moments, but it's like it's still, the manga's still efficient. Um, I will say, like from like 1 to 6, like it's just constantly like ratcheting up of like crazier shit happening. Like you can't believe what's gonna happen. It really kind of grips you. It's kind of like Gantz in that way, where you just like, what's gonna happen next? You just can't believe it. And then obviously they need like a kind of reset to like reset the tension. So they like do a time skip. Gantz does something similar where they kind of reset the tension by having a cast reshuffle. So I don't know. This is, I guess, volume 7. There's like 11 volumes, so I don't know. Maybe it'll be cool. It seems like, I guess, this came out technically earlier than Goodnight Pun Pun, because the original release date was March 17, 2010. So maybe Goodnight Pun Pun was ripping this off a little bit. I don't know. Maybe. Hard to tell. Hard to tell. Anyway, that was 1 through 6. Or no, 1 through 6. That's volume 3, 4 through 6. Kind of a little bit of 7. What the fuck? What's happening? Why? Why are they doing these things? Although I hope, I should say, I want to say, my hope is that that main guy and Nakamura have like an equal like intimacy at some point. Like I want, not like like a fully intimate. I mean that like, I don't think they would ever have an equal relationship where like they're more egalitarian with each other. But I want to see like a part where like they both wanna kiss or something, and they do. Like that's my hope for the characters. But at this point, I don't even know what to think. Like it seems like Nakamura is suicidal. Like she was willing to burn herself alive just to like they're so miserable, but like they're not really written that they are miserable, but they just want, like they just don't think that they can live in this like nothing town, and they're willing to like show everyone in the most like fucked up way. Like I don't know, it's pretty fucking wild. So hopefully something good happens. I don't know if it's gonna get more tragic. Maybe I could do a little good now happening too. Anyway, that was the review.